I'm Nancy Showalter, and you're listening to Spirituality for the Politically Incorrect podcast. Welcome, all radical paradigm shifters and creative change makers. You who dare to create a better life and a better world. Tap into the power that resides within you and use that power for constructive change. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to today's episode, How to Heal Using Ho'oponopono. Now, if you're not familiar with that term, you may be asking, what in the world is Ho'oponopono? It's an Hawaiian word, which means how to correct an error, letting go of things. And it originates in the Hawaiian tradition of conflict resolution, where individuals or groups would come together to heal their differences. Also, families. It was used for conflict resolution. This ancient practice was updated by a healer, Morna Simeona, in Hawaii, so this technique could be used to achieve the same results that once required a healer or a group or meeting with people and such. Now, one of the students of Morna Simeona was Dr. Hew Len, which we'll refer to as Dr. Len. He studied for years under the tutelage of this teacher, and then he put into practice this process in a very profound way. Dr. Len is a clinical psychologist by education, and he worked as a staff psychologist for Hawaii State Hospital for the criminally insane for 3 years, from 1984 to 1987. Now, this is an important story because it sets the stage for how powerful this process of Ho'oponopono is for healing and how you can use it the same way. So, Dr. Len used the Ho'oponopono process to treat his inmates in this Hawaii State Hospital for the criminally insane. Now, amazingly, he did not ever meet with the patients. He merely looked at their files and practiced the technique, which is very simple, yet very powerful. And little by little, the ward began to change. What was once a dangerous place to work, where the inmates were habitually consigned to their cells because they're way too dangerous to even let outside, this environment then became a peaceful place where the inmates harmoniously integrated with one another and the staff. There are no more daily attacks by the inmates on one another or the staff, and the staff no longer took sick days just to get away from the stress of their jobs. So this he accomplished in 3 years. Now, here's what he did. He took the files of each person and performed the Ho'oponopono technique. Here's the technique. It's simply the recognition that we as individuals are 100% responsible for what comes into our world. We are all connected. So no matter what circumstances appear in our life, we're responsible at some level for it, in that it's the awakening deep records in our own subconscious that need to be cleansed and healed. Dr. Liu calls this process cleaning, and he's devised a number of techniques for this cleaning of our own consciousness. Now, the traditional Ho'oponopono technique is 4 simple phrases. I love you. Please forgive me. I am sorry. Thank you. That's the technique. Now, asking forgiveness for that which is within us that has caused such a situation. And that's what Dr. Liu said. He said he healed the part of himself that was the cause of the situation in the hospital where he worked. Now, this may seem like a pretty tall order for some of us to accept, but keep in mind This is based on the understanding that we are all connected, and there's a certain mass consciousness out there, and parts of our psychology and parts of our inherited things just by incarnating in a human body that we all share. And we are responsible for those things that come into our world. And the more we clean and cleanse ourselves, cleansing our unconscious, subconscious, our emotional body, our mental body, the more we heal and cleanse these things, the more those around us and in the world, when we change, all is changed to a certain level. So this was Dr. Liu's method. He said he was not healing these patients. He was healing the part of himself that was the cause of the situation in the hospital where he worked. In other words, what synchronicity, what things in his consciousness, in his subconscious, unconscious, whatever, is part of what was happening. So for 3 years, he went through this cleansing process. He said to every one of these patients, as he looked at their picture and their file, I love you. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Thank you. And of course, our intellect, the first thing we say is, why are we asking for forgiveness? Why are we saying, I'm sorry? Again, it goes back to, at some level, we have helped create these circumstances. Now, I have practiced this for many years, off and on, and I can tell you it's extremely powerful. You can say these 4 things. And again, I love you. Please forgive me. I am sorry. Thank you. And this can not only go toward others that you have disagreements with or others that have problems, but it can go to your own psychology. And that's the most beautiful part about healing and cleansing oneself. You can say to your financial issues these 4 things and then say, I let you go. You can go now. Or with any problem in your life, you can heal it by healing that part of you that needs to be cleaned and healed, that part of you that drew it unto you. We know we've talked about karma, we've talked about the law of cause and effect, and law of attraction, all of these things that we talk about these days. It's who we are, it's what we vibrate, what we put out to the universe that we are drawing unto us. So when something comes into our attention, into our world, we're responsible for dealing with that. I remember quite a few number of years ago, I was working in a temporary agency, and I was the operations manager, and I was one who matched the temporary employees to the clients' jobs that we had. And I was quite good at it, I must admit. I set a record that I just about filled everything 100% for the number of years I was there. And I loved that. I loved that. It was like an alchemy to me. It was like finding, talking to the client, finding out exactly what they need, taking their order, and then knowing all of the employees in our database to be able to draw on those individuals to see who's available with the skills that was needed. But here's what I wanted to talk about. There was one young woman who was a steady worker for us. She went on to many, many assignments. And one day, she didn't show up for an assignment, which was not like her at all. And I managed to connect with her family, trying to reach her. And I learned the horrible, sad news that she had committed suicide. And I was absolutely shocked because I thought, anybody who is that close to me, who takes their own life, how could I miss that? I felt a certain responsibility. I mean, I knew I wasn't personally responsible for her free will choice, but I felt because she was within my world that maybe there was something, I could have done. And I realize this is part of this feeling that we are so connected to others. And when things are happening in the world, that our treatment of them from a spiritual perspective, whether it's the Ho'oponopono technique, whether it's the violet flame of transmutation that we've talked about, and I'm going to post that again, and I want to share with you a mantra that you can use because it is a cleaning technique. It is a transmutation technique. And these are very special techniques that we can use to heal and clean and cleanse and transmute records within ourself that will help not just us, but it helps everybody. It lifts the world. As we move on higher and higher spiritual path, we are raising others. So that's the understanding of Ho'oponopono. We're responsible for everything that comes into our attention in our world, and it's an opportunity to heal and cleanse a part of ourself. So again, I love you. Please forgive me. I am sorry. Thank you. And remember, you can address this to any situation, any person, and you don't have to be saying these things to anyone directly. You can do just like Dr. Len did. You can visualize that person and you speak to them and you go through this process and you see how you change and then how they change and the situation, the interactions between you changes. This is not in any way interfering with people's free will. They can reject anything, but the process here is for you to find that inner peace, to heal and cleanse within you, which also then affects the person or the situation that you're working with. And the violet flame, we've talked about that. It's a spiritual frequency. The violet color is the shortest frequency on the color spectrum. And it is a transmutation where you can visualize violet, purple, pink, all those kinds of colors working together. And there are mantras you can use. And I want to share another mantra with you today, and I will repost that audio of some mantras that you can also give. And the mantra is, I am the violet flame, victorious and free. One with God I am, for all eternity. You can repeat this and you gain a momentum because the violet flame is a frequency that as you give this mantra repetitiously, there's a natural speeding up with the words and the vibration because you are speeding up every atom, cell, and electron in your being. So I am the violet flame, victorious and free, one with God I am, for all eternity. I am the violet flame, victorious and free, one with God I am, for all eternity. I am the violet flame, victorious and free, one with God I am, for all eternity. So you are visualizing that violet flame all around you, or all around another, or all around a situation. And you can also invoke, there are violet flame angels, and you can send them into situations. You can call to them for guidance for your own self. And when you say I am, remember that is the part of you that was made in the image and likeness of the divine. That's the part of you that is perfect, that has consciousness. And when you are declaring that you are the violet flame, you're saying, I am that frequency of God within me, of the divine within me. And that frequency is freedom. It is freeing energy. Everything's energy, as we know. So it is freeing, it is transmuting trapped energy into negative memories, painful memories, into freeing that energy to flow once again so that you become free. I hope you enjoy this. You can do more research on the internet for Ho'oponopono. You can look up Dr. Len. I did attend one of his seminars years back. It was very informational, very enlightening. My way of explaining things is slightly different than Dr. Len's, but bottom line, this process of Ho'oponopono works. It's powerful. So try it, put it to use. I love you. Please forgive me. I am sorry. Thank you. I will see you next week, and I hope you'll practice this all week and practice the violet flame mantra. Until then, keep an open mind, a generous heart, and a powerful spirit. Thank you for being with me today, and if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, download, and comment. I'd love to hear from you, and your support is much appreciated. And don't forget, go to nancyshowalter.com to get your free electronic copy of my book, It's Okay to Be Rich, The Entrepreneur's Guide to Increased Wealth and Personal Mastery, endorsed by T. Harv Eker, and my free mini course, How to Speak Your Success, the shocking truth of how your words impact achieving your goals. I'll see you next week.